During the senior year of my MFA, I was in a class, and this was towards the end. We were about a week away from graduation, and my professor had given us, i- incidentally in a way, probably the best piece of advice I have heard about writing. And what the advice was simply that you need to enjoy the process of what you're doing. It's that again that phrase has been said before. It's not necessarily an original idea at all. But what he had said was you're not going to get a lot of joy necessarily with getting things published. You get maybe a book published, if you're fast, maybe a book published maybe every 1 to 2 years. If you're quick, if you self-publish, obviously you can get done quicker than that. But at the fastest, you write, maybe you write a book in a year and it gets published and it comes out, debuts maybe like in a year or two after that. So every couple of years you get a book out, and then with that you maybe get maybe 1 to 2 short stories maybe published within a year, within a year. So at best you have 2 or 3 times in a year where you're gonna have that feeling of accomplishment, if your euphoria simply comes from the publishing part of it. And what he was saying is that you need to find the joy in just doing the work, in tackling the most mundane aspects of the job. I mean, when it comes to writing, you need to get sort of a jazz. You need to get sort of a rush in revising a sentence, in fixing a sentence, in seeing, in making your writing clear. That should fire you up, right? You should get a sort of rush with your ideas coming to the page, with your story world feeling more real in a sense. Going through and just doing the general tasks, you need to enjoy that, because if you hate writing, if you hate it and hate it and hate it, what's going to happen is it's going to take so many, if you're starting out, it's going to take so many years before you even get a short story published, probably. And if your only satisfaction is in the idea of just, I want this story to be seen to the world, that's the only joy you get, it's not sustainable. You're gonna burn yourself out. The every little thing needs to give you a rush. It needs to motivate you a little bit more. And this isn't to say you're gonna have, you're not gonna have days that you hate writing, that you're frustrated and all that stuff. I have plenty of those, but the process itself needs to be motivating. There needs to be moments in the actual process that you truly enjoy. And going through my pages right now, me doing this read through of my first draft, I'm finding the small joys in the dread of reading my work, in seeing all of the things that need to be fixed, that need to be corrected, that I need to change and alter. I'm finding a certain joy in both reading my work and realizing, okay, well, some of these things are not as bad as you think, and some of these things actually are pretty decent. I'm finding the joy in that, but I'm also finding the joy in just making these notes. And I mean, look, you'll see the video you're seeing right now, marking off on the page, little notes, making little sentence corrections here and there, just going through and doing these tiny little adjustments. That's motivating. That I enjoy, and that's firing me up to go further now with this. If I dreaded it, if I hated going through and just making these sentence corrections, if I looked at it and I just wanted to pass it off to someone else, it would be a good sign that either my project I don't have any interest left in. There's no joy left in the project I'm working on, which is a separate thing. Or perhaps I'm not as in love with the process of writing as maybe I thought I was. Maybe writing isn't as viable of a thing for me as maybe I wished it was. And not all of us are gonna be like Stephen King or something like that, that seems to love like every aspect of writing and reading and all that stuff. There are things you're gonna hate. There are things that you dread doing that you're not going to want to do, but you do begrudgingly. I'd say even maybe even half the process might just be all right. Yep, I'm just doing this because I have to. But there has to be a joy beyond the external factor, beyond just seeing your work published. You have to get a joy in doing in actually doing it, because there's so much time between the publication, between seeing your work, that there are so few actual tangible victories that you need to make fixing your own work, just completing the daily task, its own victory in a sense.